Mitch McConnell wants to make sure he has an exit strategy if he decides to leave office, but his plan could end up costing Kentucky residents their voice in elections. Joining me to explain what's happening is Farron Cousins from the Trial Lawyer magazine, and absolutely the best progressive commentator in the business. I really mean that.
Thank you.
I have to watch all of them. So let's pick up with this. This is his way out, isn't it? He's saying, look, I'm tired of this. I'm old. I got physical problems. I need to get out. But when I get out, I need to have my guy there.
Yeah, I think if Mitch McConnell had known that he had a strong person to take his place, he wouldn't have even run for re-election this past year. But he did, and so at 79 years old, he says, well, I got 6 years ahead of me now. I can't do this. I've been here for 36 years now. I need to figure out what's going to happen. I'm not in the best of health. We all saw pictures recently, a couple months ago, where he showed up, had bruises on his face, bruises all over his hands, and swelling. And so he understands, look, I may not make it. I'm a realistic guy. But I want to make sure that our Democratic governor doesn't appoint a Democrat to my seat.
Yeah.
So he is helping to push legislation in the Kentucky state legislature that would actually allow the parties essentially to, if it's a Republican that leaves, the Republicans get to pick him. If it's a Democrat, the Democrats
Okay,
do.
U.S. Senate razor thin advantage that the Democrats have. I'm not even sure they have an advantage when I start looking at some of these votes. But they say, numbers-wise, it looks like razor thin. It is razor thin. So they got a lot riding on this. Now, here's the way I see it. You got a Republican majority it's absolutely veto-proof. So if this passes, this is what's going to look like in Kentucky. And I think we might start seeing it in other places, to tell you the truth, because they're really focused on the fact that even though you got these horrible middle-of-the-road kind of Democrats that really aren't helping much, this could be important.
Right, and this is usually the way we see these things happen. There's always that bellwether. We saw it in Wisconsin with the destruction of the teachers' unions and the Scott Walker funded by the Koch brother days. And then they took it everywhere else. So this could very easily be a blueprint, basically, that Republicans in other states and even Democrats in other states try to push through, because it does kind of guarantee that, listen, if something happens to your person, you get to fill that seat instead of holding a special election and letting the people have their say in who gets to represent them.
What's interesting is you have an aging, almost dinosaur leadership across the board.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, whether you're talking Republicans, whether you're talking Democrats, you got the Pelosi issue, you got the Schumer issue. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going to take hold as we start saying, what happens when we lose senators? We're going to start seeing more of that. I really predict it.
I believe so, too. I mean, it's inevitable. It happens to everybody, so.
Right. President Biden has not held a single press conference in the past 7 weeks, increasing speculation that he's not up to the task. As I look at this story, I don't think it's Biden that is choosing not to do this. It's his handlers. He's surrounded by the handlers. This guy's been around for a long time. He understands politics. Does he stumble? Yes. Does he say crazy things? Yes. Do you watch him and say, my God, I wish you hadn't done that? But look, he's been around a long time. He can operate at half capacity and still understand the program more than most of the leadership in the Democratic Party. What is your take on this?
Absolutely. But it really, you kind of have to weigh the cost benefit here. If he goes out there and he says something and he stumbles and forgets somebody's name or their department, conservative media has a field day with it.
Yeah.
But then again, you hide him away for 7 weeks and don't let him talk to anybody. They go after that as well. So you're in a lose-lose situation. And I think the one that you want to lose is the theory that you're hiding him. You do need to bring him out to the public. You need to let him talk. And like you said, he's going to say stupid things. That's what Joe Biden did all throughout the campaign. But the more you hide him, the worse it looks on the Democrats.
Don't you think the average American understands it's not him making all the decisions? Right. He has people to do that. Look, I've heard in the last few days, I go, my God, what is he saying? Why can't he remember? Why? It's a memory problem. He literally couldn't remember the name of the Pentagon. He couldn't remember the Attorney General. But at the same time, he's been around a long time. He does understand the program, and his handlers certainly going to say, put him in front of a camera, let him be Joe Biden. My take.
Well, we've got a lot, as you've already pointed out, a lot of aging people in leadership in Washington, D.C., Republicans and Democrats. On the Democratic side, though, you have a lot of people that are pushing 80, some even over 80.
Yeah, Pelosi, you got
Pelosi, who gave that weird interview a few months ago. Remember the Good Morning, Sunday morning? She had no idea what was happening.
Right.
Dianne Feinstein, reports are coming out that half the time she didn't know where the hell she was.
The Feinstein reports are very serious.
They really are.
They're really serious. The Pelosi reports, they had one where it looked like she was either drunk or she was just completely stroking out. But when they went back and looked at it, it's somebody that had doctored the film. Feinstein, not the case.
Right.
I mean, Feinstein, you got to look at her and say, I don't know what she's long for the world.
And there's been reports from pharmacists who haven't named names, but they have said in Washington, D.C., they have filled dementia and other, mental prescriptions. I don't know exactly how to say that, but for members of Congress, basically admitting that there's plenty of them that do have some kind of severe cognitive decline, Alzheimer medication. That's what it was. That's what he was filling. So, it's a real problem, and it does create speculation, but it also shows that we have to do something better than just putting these 80-year-olds in charge of the country all the time.
Move over. It's like we do with our law firm. At some point, I'm not going to be trying as many cases as I try. So I try to get the younger lawyers ready to do that. Any business should do that. But again, it comes back. I don't think we look at Biden and he's stumbling all around and say, oh, my God, all is lost. He's Joe Biden. He can operate at half speed and still do a better job than most of these folks who've been around a long time. And he's surrounding himself. I'm not so sure about the rest of them, though. We got to look at the aging is a big issue.
Yeah.